iPhone or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com on the WHOW mobile app and Amazon Alexa. Plus, hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10, all brought to you by Warner Hospital and Health Services, Vaughn Chevrolet Buick, Love It Once More Thrift Store, and Mid-State Eye.
In Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. DNR Conservation Police Captain John Williamson in studio with me today. Good morning, Captain.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. So are you over the Cubs not getting Shohei Ohtani?
They weren't getting him anyway. I knew it right from the start. They weren't getting him.
John, you're living in the real world, my friend. As a Cubs fan, you cannot be doing that. You got to live in fantasy world where you're getting everybody all the time. No, it's a done deal before it even starts.
True, but I like how the Mets are going after the pitcher, having dinner with the owner.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get him.
Yeah.
The Yankees are bringing out the big guns, man.
Yeah.
It's just going to be too much. But I like the effort, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the effort. Go get him, for sure. Now, John, let's talk outdoors. And the shotgun deer hunting season has wrapped up. We had the 2 weekends, and so how did things go there?
Well, it was the difference of 2 weekends. First weekend, absolutely beautiful weather. If anything, maybe a touch warm, but absolutely beautiful weather. Second season, windy, rain, nasty, and the deer harvest reflect that. When you have the nice weather, everything else, deer harvests were great for the first season. Second season, not so much. But overall, it was a little better than last year.
Now, don't you want that kind of cold and dreary and like nasty weather for a shotgun deer hunting season?
If you were to go out and sit outside, what would you rather it be? Sunny and nice or rainy and dreary?
Well, I mean, I want it to be sunny and nice, but aren't the deer more active in the opposites?
It just depends. With the first season, you get still part of the rut going on, that sort of thing, so they're going to be moving anyway.
Okay.
But it really dictates of the hunters getting out. So that nicer weather, that sort of stuff gets the hunters out more, and usually the harvest reflects that.
So guys are going to stay in if it's nasty.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that. I thought most guys would just weather it all and just deal with it because of the game,
Sometimes, and if during first season they'll weather it out a little more. Second season it's kind of, well, I've already, they maybe have already shot a doe or something, have their freezer full, that sort of thing.
I see.
There's a lot more that goes into it, but the weather was actually pretty good. Even with the second season being a little wet and windy, it wasn't horrible.
Any issues around these parts?
No issues really right around here. It was pretty smooth sailing and good year.
Good year. Good, very good. Did you get any calls on anything? I mean, that stood out to you?
We've had some trespassing complaints, a little more than what it seems like in years past, which they kind of died down a little bit. We had a couple cases over east of here where one was a convicted felon using an inappropriate weapon, that sort of stuff, shooting a deer, and then we had another one that was shooting out of a vehicle and ended up stopping 5 people in the vehicle and had night vision, everything else in the vehicle. So a little interesting stuff going on.
Where was that at?
That was over in Iroquois County.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Good stuff. But, I mean, that's not fun, but like...
No, but that's why we're out there.
Yeah, it's interesting,
right?
right?
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's good that things stayed kind of quiet on the home fronts, at least. So now, what is I know, archery goes till January...
About the 15th of January.
Okay.
Yep, that weekend right around there. We've got waterfowl. The duck season's about ready to close, but we've got goose season goes till the end of January.
Okay.
And pheasant, rabbit, upland game season goes till that first weekend in January. Mm-hmm. So we've still got a lot of stuff going on.
What's activity like with those seasons? Anything?
It picks up this time of year. We always talk about the duck season. Well, we're finally maybe going to have a stretch of cold weather, but the ducks have not moved down at all. There's still a bunch of ducks up north, so duck hunters have been crying. They've not liked how the migration has gone. So if we do start getting a push of ducks, it'll be get really busy again. Same with the geese. We get that cold snap. The geese will start moving. So it just depends. Waterfowl is just so weather dependent, and not just weather here; it's weather north of us.
Now, how long does it take for them to migrate this way?
Oh, it could be a day or two, and they'd be from Canada here.
Oh, no kidding.
It doesn't take long at all.
Okay.
Yeah, when they get a push and they get snow cover, that's where they're going to be.
Yeah, and it's pretty cold up north right now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's snow up there at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if they have the snow cover, but they've definitely had some cold weather.
Yeah, absolutely. So that season could be picking up here very quickly. And again, anything on those? Just as things kind of wind down with the shotgun season, anything on those?
No, nothing really in particular with those. It's been the pheasant numbers seem to be up a little bit this year, so guys are having some success pheasant hunting this year.
Okay.
Rabbit numbers, big thing with that is just make sure you know where you're at. We had a call over the weekend with some guys hunting too close to residences, so make sure you know your rules. 100 yards with shotgun, 300 yards with shotgun or rifle when you're deer hunting. So you just want to make sure that you keep those distance from the homes to keep people safe.
Do you get many calls on the waterfowl stuff or anything like that?
Yeah, we do, especially with like the site-specific rules for Clinton Lake. So they're even more specific. We get guys trying to maybe break the rules here and there. So, and the waterfowl community is very tight-knit, but yet they like but because they know everybody, know who's who. Hey, I saw so-and-so doing this the other day.
They'll rat them out.
So we'll rat them out.
quicker.
So we get we get those calls and try to make it fair for everybody. That's the thing about public land. A lot of the rules are public safety wise and to keep it fair for everybody, so they always try to take a little advantage here or there.
Yeah, now I know like fishing is like a very public thing, right? Like you can fish just about anywhere.
Right.
But is public hunting for waterfowl and upland game, is that pretty unique to the other seasons in Illinois?
No, I wouldn't say it's unique, but there's some area, almost any area you can deer hunt, almost any area you can squirrel hunt. Upland game, to have the right cover, you need to have bigger covers. Waterfowl, you need to have the water. You need to have certain things to be able and to be able to do it safely, and not have a bunch of houses around that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So those are maybe a little unique, especially waterfowl.
Okay.
So it makes it a little different, and like I say, it just makes it to where we have to have some laws to kind of make it fair for everybody.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you can't just go like hunt deer on state ground, right? Like. Not all state ground.
Not all state ground.
There
correct.
are some designated areas.
There's designated areas, and then any of the public areas that you're going to go to, you need to go look up what the rules are for that particular area, because all of them seem to have some special rules for those areas.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you do that. One of the biggest things that we have, and they've instituted it probably 10, 15 years ago, and guys are still having issues with it or don't get it done, is registering. So we'll have you register online, and you keep track of the amount of days you hunt, the amount of game you take for anything you do on public ground.
Okay.
And guys get frustrated with that, but what they don't realize is that's how we get money from the federal government.
Okay.
So there's the Dingell-Johnson Act is one of them that money is specifically set aside. There's taxes that are placed on firearms, ammunition, hunting gear, that sort of thing that go into this fund.
Okay.
And for Illinois to get that money, they've got to show the hunter usage on their public sites. So that's how, when they sign in everything else, we can go, hey, federal government, Illinois had 200,000 hunters use our sites for this many days, and then they carve out that much money for us.
So and I could see this being kind of a sticking point of guys saying, I don't want to register, I don't want you knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, well, we need to know so we can get some of these dollars for
some of these dollars, and
this that will benefit you.
That benefits the hunter. Also, the other thing, that we find now that we had really no record for our wildlife biologists about what was going on our state sites, how the population was doing, everything else. Now we have that record also. So it serves more than one purpose.
I see.
But it really helps out.
John Williamson, DNR Conservation Police Captain. So kind of putting a bow on the hunting seasons themselves. Few issues, but you mentioned numbers. The second weekend of the shotgun season, a little down. What were deer harvest numbers like? Did you get a chance to look at those at all?
I looked at some of them, and we were up overall for like the year before, and the central Illinois counties seemed to all be up a little bit. Nothing nothing great, huge numbers, but we were all up right here through East Central Illinois, which was good.
Okay, very good. So, John, what kind of comes next for you then with these hunting seasons winding down? You mentioned archery season is still in full force, waterfowl upland game, but once these things wind down, what comes next?
Well, we kind of hit that a little bit of a lull for us, and there's a lot of training and stuff that goes on for us during that February, March, but it's all, again, we've talked about this year after year, our job is so weather dependent. You get that 50-degree day in February after it's been cold, and that lake will all of a sudden boats will be everywhere, crappie fishing, bass fishing, everything else. So we stay busy. If the Super El Nino comes around, we stay in the 50s all winter long and have a lot of days like that. We're going to be busy all winter long with boats on the water and crappie fishing, bass fishing. Just a lot of people using our parks.
A very cold day like this in the next few days, does that do anything? Does that bring any sort of outdoorsman out, any type of outdoorsman out?
We've still got the fur bear season going on, so coyote, you can night hunt coyotes until the 15th. Some of that we'll bring those guys out, the really cold weather, those get those coyotes on their feet. So we will see a little uptick in that. Mm-hmm. But mainly those nicer days when we really start to see the people out.
What can you hunt coyotes with?
You can hunt them with just about everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no restrictions.
Oh.
On the state ground, there's restrictions. You can use rim fires and that sort of thing. But on private ground, you can shoot anything you want to at them.
Is that popular at all? Like, I can't imagine the demand for coyotes is that
It's becoming more popular.
Is it?
Actually, fur prices have gone up a little bit this year. So read something where some guys that they couldn't even sell raccoon pelts last year. Now they're getting $8 a pelt, that sort of thing. So prices on pelts have come up a little bit. So that'll add a little bit more to it. Guys usually coyote hunt aren't usually in it for the pelts a lot of times. That's just, a lot of them are helping out farmers that have problems with predation on their farms and different things like that. Right. So, but we're starting to see more of it. It's become more popular nationwide, and it's the same thing going on here.
Interesting stuff. Any regulation on coyote hunting or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing we have with them is just making sure you get permission before the property you go on to. Yeah, right. So make sure you have permission. Make sure that you're unloading and casing those guns before you get into vehicles. Last year we had a coyote hunter didn't unload his gun appropriately and shot himself in the leg while he was in his vehicle, that sort of thing. And so just make sure you're being safe. That's our bigger thing with coyote hunters.
Very good. Where do folks go to find all the rules and regulations on these things?
DNR.illinois.gov will give you all the answers you want to your questions, plus phone numbers for the CPOs.
Easy enough. John Williamson, DNR Conservation Police Captain, our guest in studio. More to come with him on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network. Corn and beans starting today steady. Wheat opening lower. March corn 481 3/4 down 1 1/4. May corn down 1 1/2, 493 3/4. December new crop 511 1/4. That's down a penny. January beans 1317 3/4 up 2. March beans up 1 1/2, 1333, and November new crop 1276 1/4 unchanged. March wheat 621 1/4, that's down 8. May wheat down 8 3/4, 630 3/4. July wheat 635 3/4, down 8 1/2. January bean meal 404.90, down 70 cents. January bean oil 50.90, up 91 cents. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick, above and beyond is standard practice. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City. When you shop for a vehicle, there's nothing standard about it. You simply don't do it every day. That's why our sales staff will ask questions, listen, and help you find the transportation solution that checks all the right boxes. Come see our selection and start your search for a new Chevrolet or Buick today. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
For the latest in Central Illinois agricultural news, visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com. Get updated information on markets, weather, ag news, local interviews with NAFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Connexus will provide local, reliable, affordable, and speed-of-light fiber internet to Clinton. Get on the install list now by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Fiber internet is coming to Clinton. Get on the install list now.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, and good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Beacon Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio, John Williamson, DNR Conservation Police Captain, with us. And John, let's talk just a little bit. You know, I was asking about that cold weather the next few days, and
right.
I wanted to ask about icing, but I didn't think it was going to be cold enough for long enough to ice over like Clinton Lake or Weldon Springs or anything.
Probably not those two lakes, but some of our farm ponds, that sort of stuff. It'll definitely get that skim ice and start to where people are going to try to get out on them and ice fish and test the ice.
Well, and speaking of ice fishing, you know, I didn't realize, I've talked to a few guys over the last year or two that go north, you know, around Christmas time or whatever, or take some time off in January, February. They'll go up like, you know, northern Minnesota or even into Canada and do some ice fishing up there.
Absolutely. They'll rent ice shacks up there so they can go fish, that sort of thing, and they'll get GPS locations to drive their truck right out on the ice and jump out and jump in the ice house and fish.
I just couldn't do that. Jared was telling me that they have like houses on the water, and like you can like from the house access the ice.
Oh yeah, so I've never done this. I was going to go up with a buddy that's been on Lake Erie and actually like had a Bearcat. It was like a big UTV vehicle, but it was almost like RV size, would drive out on the ice. When it gets there, it lowers itself down to the ice, open up a flap, drill your hole. You never even have to get outside the vehicle to go ice fishing.
I couldn't do that. I don't know. The guys that do that, kudos to them. That just sounds, I don't know. I'd be freaking out all night that car's going to fall through the ice and we're going to drown, freeze to death. Crazy. And it doesn't melt the top of the layer. You know what I mean? Like, that's just nuts. Anyways, I need to get over this because we got to have a good conversation. Let's talk about ice fishing safety. What should we know?
Sounds good. You know, the biggest thing, you want at least 3 inches of ice. Guys will test it, whatever else. But when you go out there, it may seem strange, but make sure, you know, especially when you're testing out the ice, make sure you wear that life jacket. Make sure you have something that'll keep you on top of the water if you do break through, that you can get there. Make sure if you're worried about the thickness of the ice, either early in the season or where we've seen some other tragedies, even here locally, is late in the season when that ice is going away and guys are still trying to get on the ice. Make sure you have somebody with you. Make sure you have a rope that you can tie to yourself, whatever, and somebody to help you out. But and when I say it, it just seems strange to me. But after 24 years of doing this job and the tragedies I've seen on the ice, wearing that life jacket out there with you is really could have probably saved about everybody that was out on the ice.
Oh man, that's terrible.
So
that's terrible.
They make ice picks that are like that you can attach to yourself or attach to your jacket. That way you have something to grip onto to pull yourself out of the ice. Once you're coming out there. So those are important. And just let people know where you're going, when you're going to be out, that sort of thing. Like we talk about going hunting, going deer hunting, climbing a tree stand. Those are important things to do.
I was just going to say that, let someone know where you're going. And that happened recently, right? Like a gentleman went out to ice fish and didn't tell someone where he was and ended up falling in, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought that was a case. Like Wapella or something?
That actually had somebody. That one had another person with them.
Oh, okay.
And the kid actually had to go up to the house and actually know it was home that was near there and broke into the house to use the phone, that sort of thing. So it was a whole mess.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that would be helpful to keep folks informed on where you're going. Very good. When it comes to ice fishing, John, any other things to know about? You know, things to take with you as you travel, that sort of thing?
No, just like I say, make sure you get the warm clothes, waterproof boots, that sort of thing, and just be safe out there. That's it's a tragedy, doesn't have to happen, and we see one about every year around the area. So just got to make sure we be safe.
What is good, like up north? Like what's good ice fishing?
Oh, everything, and they ice fish for walleyes a lot.
Okay.
So those
do fish like that cold weather?
Some fish do. Walleyes are one that stay active throughout the winter.
Okay.
So they'll be there. They fish for burbot. They fish for whitefish. There's a lot of different species that they fish the ice for.
How big do some of those come in?
Oh, some of the like lake trout, things like that can be huge.
Really?
Yeah, 40, 50 pounds. I mean,
Oh my
it can
gosh.
be, yeah,
Whoa.
it can be big.
Man,
Sure.
holy cow, that's a big
Yep.
old fish. Well, John, as we talk ice fishing, again, anything else to know or anything like that?
No, pretty much that's it.
All right. Let's keep that in mind. John, as we wrap things up here, we talked about, getting to the cold weather season and things really kind of slow down for DNR. What are you going to be working on? What's coming up for you in the next few months?
The worst part about this time of year for CPOs is paperwork. So this is time we catch up on paperwork. We take care of evidence from the last year. We make sure we do inventory on all our equipment, repairs, that sort of thing. So a lot of paperwork, which, the CPOs enjoy when the weather does pop up and have a nice day. They can get out from the desk and actually do some work for a while. So,
well, I hate to break this to you. You signed up to be a paper pusher.
That's what I am now. I push a desk. So that's what I do.
You signed up for this, John.
I did.
So.
I did. I don't know why I did it, but I did.
No, when it comes to like training and stuff, like do you have to go to the DNR headquarters or whatnot in Springfield much?
Sometimes we'll go to the DNR headquarters. Sometimes we'll do it locally.
Okay.
McCletsy's nice to have there. Ilias, they've got a nice in Champaign. They've got a nice Ilias building over there, so we go over there, do a lot of training.
Okay.
It just depends where it's offered and what's going on. So we do those sort of things.
Well, and just kind of a reminder, folks think DNR training. Well, what's there to train about other than knowing the new rules and regulations? But you have like all the powers of a normal police officer.
Absolutely. So we've got to keep up with our mandatory trainings for any of the law updates for regular law enforcement, plus all our DNR stuff, plus our safety things. So we do first aid and CPR and AED training. We do all sorts of sonar training. There's just a list of stuff that we do.
Yeah, for sure. When it comes to just like the winter time and those sorts of things, like what is the like when we get into February and kind of that really late January, February, that time frame, and things are really cold outside, what is top of mind for when you do go out? Like, what are you looking for? What do you kind of not searching for, but what's as you're out, what's top of mind?
In the last few years, something that people don't really think about us doing, but we do a lot of, is when it does get nasty out. We do have icy roads. We help out the state police and other locals with road. Dealing with
patrols,
stranded motorists, things like that on the road. What was it last year before we had the 2 March snowstorms, and I was out on the interstate for both those.
I remember
having
that.
to close down the interstates because the semis wrecking in the middle of interstates. So we do a lot of that sort of stuff. So anything public safety wise, we're going to be involved in. But we still try to focus to our lakes, that sort of thing, and watch. In the middle of the winter, we've still got a lot of boaters that get out because of being a power plant lake. We'll always have open water, so people come from all around to still get their boats out and still be able to fish open water.
Didn't think about that. Yeah, for sure. And always something different in the winter. It sounds like for you guys. So very good, John. Where do folks go to keep up with all things DNR regulation? Those things.
DNR.illinois.gov.
John Williamson, DNR Conservation Police Captain, our guest in studio this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.